So the recommended suggestion is to do this ocean bliss cleaning. And whenever you are emotionally uh, feeling down, compromised, and that's the time you cannot apply willpower, and that's the time the best process to do the cleaning is this ocean bliss cleaning technique. So you can try this. And last week we did practice that. Now we'll move to the next topic, from solidity to suppleness, the transformative power of the fire element. So we are on the third chakra, which is the fire element. Sometimes we feel vibrant and engaged when interacting with people, while other times we are uninterested or cold. What causes this shift? It's lack of fire within us. The fire element gives us vibrancy, dissolves mental blocks, and keeps our inner being supple. At the third chakra, we experience this vibrancy. We cut through obstacles and connect with others openly and compassionately. When no longer view others solely through the lens of their shortcomings, but rather see the beauty in their imperfections and embrace them fully. As you progress on your spiritual journey, your focus becomes increasingly fixed on the goal. The intense concentration leaves little room for worrying about the shortcomings of others. Instead, you direct your energy towards working on your own flaws. Through devotion, your heart transforms into a pure and loving space. There is a song in my native language, Gujarati, that goes like this: O Lord, please descend once into this earthly abode of my heart. Once you visit me here, you will be so lost in its beauty that you'll forget the home you came from. These lines summarize the silent sentiment in your heart when journey through the fire chakra. So the challenge, we often face in our lives, right, is we are bogged down by all the difficulties which we face in our life. The yesterday I was watching a YouTube short video. It's like about interviewing a comedian from India, and this interviewer is asking the comedian, "You perform a lot of shows, almost every day, different places, different people. You make people laugh. But what about if you are going through some difficult situation and your heart is not there and you are filled with sorrow? How do you doesn't it show up in on your show when you are performing the comedy? How do you do it? How do you manage to do it?" He gave a wonderful answer. He said, "In my life, all my problems, my personal problems, are to myself. They're not there to display to the world. And I only bring happiness to the world." And he says often people keep happiness to themselves and they like to distribute the sorrow around them. It's a wonderful statement. So we all go through the sorrow, situations, troubles. Life is full of it. No one is an exception here. No one. Everyone has their own ups and downs. But when when you're aspect of the spiritual growth is there in your background, what happens is you try to overcome all this. And also, not only that, all the flaws we see in others, we only see in others because they are in you. Otherwise, you won't be even paying attention to those flaws. This is something I realized when I was reading Vivekananda. This is what he said: if you see any flaw in someone, that means the flaw is in you. So, if any flaw we see outside in the external world, the correction has to happen within. So, all these chakras, sometimes we wonder why these chakras, why are we even talking about it? It's because each chakra is addressing how to overcome certain emotions. Because as a human, we are all emotion driven. And how do we overcome any emotion which is taking over, like the anger or at the third chakra? When we perfect the third chakra, when we refine the third chakra through the process of cleaning and meditation, we overcome, we know how to handle those emotions perfectly. So, when we can handle our emotions correctly, we can deal with them correctly. We can deal with the situation with a lot of wisdom. So that's the whole idea of working with these chakras. Not only that, at each chakra, we are getting the glimpse of this inner soul, you can call it inner essence, inner divinity. We get the glimpse of it. And as we move through the chakras, our perception of that inner unfolds, changes. So that's why it's important to understand these chakras. So, fire, so let me read this: ascend toward the goal. Fire has another unique quality: it always burns upward. Even when the lighter or a matchstick is held upside down, at the fire chakra, your love also ascends like a flame. But towards what does it ascend? Towards that which is higher. So your journey has transformed the wastelands of hatred into green shoots of love. Your heart effuses love that rises towards the source and is expressed through silent act of compassion. Your heart melts, your heart love ascends. So many traditions practice fire worship as a symbolic ritual for ascension towards the ultimate love. Through your practice, your heart becomes wholly receptible that lights up a blazing flame of love. So, dwelling at the third chakra, you don't pretend to love, it becomes your nature. So, to end this chapter, I want to share my experience at the third chakra. For years in my journey, I struggled with mastery of the third chakra. I had already had many experiences at chakras above third, but whenever I thought I would leap beyond some emotional turbulence or the other yanked me back. So each time this happened, it took a lot of effort to lift myself up and keep going. Once Babaji appeared in my dream and told me that once I broke free of third chakra, my progress would zoom like a rocket. So I kept working at it. During those times in 1986, I was traveling with Chariji in India. We were in the city of joy, Kolkata. That evening in Kolkata, there was a ghazal session, a poetic verses in Urdu set to music, and the artists sang the songs that Chariji liked. It was pleasure to watch Chariji listen to music. He would close his eyes and tap his fingers. When there was a breeze, you could see his silver hair sway in the wind as if each strand were dancing to the music. I listened to music, but that evening I was preoccupied with observing my inner condition. So, as the singer hit the high note, Chariji waved his hand in tune with the song. At that instant, I felt the movement from third chakra to the fourth. It was like a laser beam, an unmistakable feeling of movement etching a straight line in my heart. I looked up and saw Chariji. Our eyes met. My head bowed as my hands discreetly came together in gratitude. He was at a distance. There were at least 100 people in the room at that time. His eyes acknowledged mine, and he responded with the slightest nod. That was it. So, an affirmation of the immense work done in an opportune moment of receptivity. Would it have happened had I not been alert? It could have, but not knowing is the equivalent of not having. So the divine knowledge is not taught, it is caught. It's a very important element here. So this divine knowledge is not taught, and it's all about our attention to these shifts in meditation, even not during meditation. It's not that always the progress happens in meditation. Just like in this scenario, what Daji shared, and this happened in a music concert. So when our attention is turned inwards, we become very sensitive to the shifts inside our heart. If we are bogged down by our problems, our situations, the turbulences, that attention we cannot totally pay to this. That's why when this inner love starts developing, it overcomes all the troubles in one go. It's not that we are not going to have trouble situations in life, but we kind of acknowledge those troubles and keep moving, because life is all about moving, keep moving, and it doesn't stop for anyone. We, in our, what should I say, in our self indulgence, we get caught up with our own problems and we get indulged into it more and more, and we don't know how to get out of that. It's like that quicksand. Once you step in, it keeps sucking you in. So, what is the best way to get out of it is basically connecting with this inner condition. This inner condition is synonymous to the divine. Every inner condition, we feel that shift in our meditation, we must connect and enliven it and grow it, absorb it. So, if we subject ourselves to that process on a regular basis, a lot of times we become very neutral about situations. It's not that we don't face the brunt of it. Even, like I was saying last week, right? It's easy to deal with difficult situations, but it is difficult to deal with success situations, happiness, happy situations. In happy situations, our attention is completely, we become unfocused. And even happiness, the pleasure is also a self-indulgence. That's why when we go through pleasures, especially, they seem they're not completing us. So that's why the pleasure doesn't stay with us for a long time because there is no proper purpose behind that pleasure. Any pleasures, we go through, they seem short lived and we cannot even recall those pleasurable moments in our life. Think about one pleasurable moment in your life. Go back and check how many you can think of today, right? Because they're forgotten completely. Why? Because there is no purpose associated with that pleasure. It doesn't complete us. That's why we cannot remember them. We cannot recollect them. So, yesterday, someone like I was talking on the Tuesday session about celebrating life, and I got a question: how do we celebrate life? Because we don't cherish what we have, we're always thinking what we don't have. Even I tell about meditation, we should not be doing meditation for peace. Why peace is why are we not at peace? Because there's so many situations we are going through at this moment. Were the same situations that were there before and before that? There's always something troubling us. And then we look for escaping from those situations, from our, not really from the real situations, not from, it's basically the mental turmoil we are going through because of that situation. That is what we want to escape. And that is what we call peace. That's why peace is denied for us because we don't know the peace. We are only trying to escape a situation in our mind. So, what happens when you are meditating for peace? You're already feeling lackness of it. And the principle of meditation is you become that which you meditate on. So, what are we meditating on for peace? I'm meditating for peace, but I am feeling the lackness of it. So, that lackness grows more if you are meditating for peace. That means you become unpeace. So, understand the principle correctly. So, how do we celebrate life? Is by looking at all the great things happening in our life. You see, I'm telling you, most of us are top 5% of this humanity. If not top 5%, top 20% of this humanity, right? From our situation of finance, you take, mental health, you take, and the physical health, you take, and the, lot of very many good things are happening around us. I don't have to kill somebody to get my next meal, right? There are a lot of things going right in our life. So feel gratitude for what we have. When we feel this gratitude, then we can celebrate our life. So life is to celebrate. And by 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 through the third point, the fire point, the true celebration of life begins. So think about it. And with this, we'll end this chapter of fire chakra, the third chakra. So next week, we'll start on our journey towards fourth chakra. So I'll stop here for any questions, comments, and then we can meditate.